Okay, I think I can start. Welcome, everybody. Allow me first to apologize for sitting down. I broke my leg in a sport incident, so I won't be walking around like all the other presenters did. I hope you forgive me for that. Welcome to this presentation. What I want to do is take a low-level approach at PowerShell and show you 3 demos of how you can use PowerShell in daily packaging work. Let me start with my presentation. So I'm going to show you first how to apply a PowerShell custom action and during the installation of an MSI, how to do some PowerShell commandlets on MSIs, because that's a bit of an issue, and how to use PowerShell for a certain application of AppV. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Tavernarakis. I work for PDS, who is organizing this event. I'm a certified packaging engineer. I've been consulting in packaging and training packagers for the past 7 years. I know some of you guys, you followed some of our courses, so you're welcome to come here. I also provide consulting, training, and support for software engineers on development of customized MSI packages, and I've done a lot of patching and upgrading. What happens is software engineers often come to PDS and ask for our help when their package is already deployed, and then they decide they want to patch it or they want to upgrade something, and then they say, "Ooh, it's not working how we expected this to work." And the problem is they didn't follow some basic rules which an MSI has, like having lots of key files on your components and stuff like that, and then it's hard to patch it. So often we have to like redo installations and stuff like that. It's a nice change in environment for me, because what normally admins have is very many applications, right? As system admins, we have lots of applications, and we have a single environment. Maybe we have Windows 7 or Windows XP, or maybe some of you have Windows 10 already in production. And so it's that single environment where we're focusing on. What a developer has is one application mostly instead of many. But they're not sure what the environment is going to be where they're going to install. It could be XP, Windows 7. So the installations, although they're both MSIs, they can be really different. The developer ones have a lot of conditions in them. Lately, I've been focused on AppV, Hyper-V, and PowerShell. And recently, I developed a course to teach PowerShell essentials for packagers and IT pros. The environment I'll be showing my demos is on a Windows 10 machine. Windows 10 comes with PowerShell version 5.0, and I've installed the client and the sequencer of AppV, and the version is 5.1. And I'm going to use the latest version of Raypack as a packaging tool. You could do the same custom action, which I'm going to show you in Install Shield or any other product which you can make MSIs with. Some questions for everybody. Which of you have used the custom action ever in an MSI or an MST? Oh, everybody. Cool. Almost everybody. Which of you use PowerShell in your daily work? Okay, less than everybody. Any of you write your own PowerShell scripts? Okay. Any of you ever implement an AppV5 connection group? Less. Okay. So most of you will learn something, at least. Okay, this is the description of my first demo. I'm going to talk about custom actions and sequences and how to execute a PowerShell script during the installation of an MSI. It's a very simple script. I'm not focusing now on the complexity of PowerShell, but the cool thing about it is that it receives a parameter. So what I'm going to do is call this script with some Windows installer properties. And then what I do with the Windows installer property, I'm going to use it in my script. In this case, I'm only going to make an entry with it, because it's going to retrieve app info. I'm going to ask for the application, product name and product version. Maybe you know these 2 properties. And I'm just going to write them in a log file. And I do that by first retrieving the date, and then if the log folder and file is not available, I will build them, right? So it creates a log folder by first checking if it's not there, and then it will make the folder, And then out file is a command where it doesn't care if the file is there or not. If the file is there, it will append. If it's not there, it will create it. Anyway, simple, it just adds an entry in that log file. This is a bit more complicated schematic. I hope it's visible. Is it visible? I think so. I'm not going to go too deep in it, but this is how a Windows installer installation takes place. So this is an MSI, right? First, we have the UI sequence. That's where all the dialogues show up. And what we normally do as admins is do a /q, qb, qn. You have a number of options. What happens then? This part of the installation gets skipped over, right? Then your installation starts here. It doesn't get suppressed. Some people may think that. It just gets skipped over, and your installation starts here. What does the execute immediate do? This one writes all these instructions to a so-called script, and this script is called the deferred script. Install initialize is the first one, install finalize is the final one, and when install finalize actually gets written, this is the exact point where elevation takes place. So MSC elevates, and when install finalize is written, then this script finally gets executed in the so-called deferred mode under the system account. So actual MSC always installs with the system account. Most of you probably deploy packages as system, so the elevation is already much taking place here. So when this happens, no elevation takes place because you're already using the system account. Why is this important? Because I need to install I want to run a PowerShell script, and my PowerShell script will be run with a command called execution policy bypass. And if you want to run with execution policy bypass, you need to be an administrator or you need to have the system account. Okay? Execution policy bypass makes sure that my script will run. Doesn't matter what the execution policy on the script on the system is. Is anybody doesn't know what execution policy is? I can explain it. No? Well, execution. I'll explain it anyway. It was a rhetorical question. Execution policy is a setting on PowerShell which will allow or not all scripts to run. So it might force you to only run signed scripts. It might allow you to run all scripts, or it might not at all. You might not be able to run any scripts. By bypassing it, you don't really care. Your script will always run. There's another thing. This exact sequence is used during uninstallation and repair of an MSI. So in order to decide when my script will take place, I need to use a condition. So if you use the condition not installed, installed is a property. If you say not installed, it makes sure that your installation will only run, your custom action will only run during installation. You also have a condition for uninstall and another one for repair. So I'm going to do a demo now, the PowerShell custom action in an MSI, sorry. My Dutch comes up now and then. So what we want to do is during installation, make a log entry by running that script. We're going to use the launch executable custom action type. I had a lot of questions with my trainings where when the new version of Install Shield or Raypack came, and people told me, oh, there's not a PowerShell custom action type. My answer was always the same. There's always a PowerShell custom action type because you can start PowerShell.exe, and there's an executable custom action type. So all these tools always had the launch executable custom action type. So you can always launch PowerShell.exe or cmd.exe with a PowerShell command behind that. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And we're going to execute PowerShell exe directly instead of cmd.exe. And we're going to do it with a system account. Let me go to my Windows 10 environment. This is Raypack. It's a packaging tool, and I'm going to start a Raypack project. Hey. Okay. It needed a little push. It's a very simple application. I'm not going to focus on what it installs. Only I'll show you that in the demo subfolder, I have my script as a file. There's two ways to add a script to an installation. You can add it either as binary or as a file to be installed. I added it purposely as a file to be installed because that limits me to first installing the file and then executing it. And I want you guys to see how that works. If it's added as a binary, you are more flexible. It's always available. So your MSC can run it at any point in the installation, from the first action to the final action. But when I have it added as a file, I'm limited to after the install files action. I'll show you in a second. This is important, demo. I always take a look at the properties to see what the identifier is, because that's the property I will need to tell him where the path is to the file. So demo is the full path to the location of this file. I'm going to the advanced mode, custom actions. I've already created it, but I'll do it from scratch just to show you. I'm going to run an executable custom action. I said that mostly these tools didn't have PowerShell, but nowadays you can run directly a PowerShell custom action. And I didn't pause here yesterday, but somebody saw it in the public. They said, hey, can you go back a screen? And well, here you have your PowerShell custom action. So if you would like, you could actually run directly a PowerShell custom action with Raypack 2.0. And you can say bypass execution policy as well. This was the setting I was missing all these years. This is a new product. Came out this summer. So I'm going to do it the general way, which works for all products. So we're going to run an executable next. The executable is on the destination. Which executable do I want to run? That's PowerShell.exe. And working directory is where the PowerShell.exe will find the file it needs to run. So that's demo. The command to execute, so it's PowerShell.exe, but you know what? I'm really bad with typos, so I'll just copy it from Notepad. So this is the command we want to run. It's PowerShell exe with execution policy bypass. A file is demo in square brackets. What does square brackets, what does it do? Can somebody tell me? Yeah, so it resolves the value of demo. And what's the value of demo? Maybe C program files demo, something like that. Maybe D, depends. So it doesn't matter what the value of demo is. It will always resolve to the location of your file. And I'm giving it as a argument two properties, product name and product version. Next. Deferred, I don't want to run as the current user. I want to run as a system. And deferred I use because that's when the file is actually installed. Next. When am I going to run this? This is a pretty important point. Because the file, the actual PS1 file, the PowerShell file, has to be on the machine, I need to do this after install files. Go next. You give your custom action a nice name, and you can give the condition here. I'm going to do not installed. Remember what not installed did? Made sure that it will only run during installation. Next, process. There I have my new custom action. I have my old one. They seem to be the same, but I'll remove the new one because I've demoed the old one. All right, I'm going to build this project and see what it does. I'll build an MSI called Demo PowerShell. So if I run it, where is it? Demo, custom action demo, MSI, there it is. I have a command line to run it silently. You see here the PowerShell screen, so that the script actually ran. There is a way to suppress that screen. Just wanted to show you how it ran. So what it did, first of all, the MSI installed SPC, program files. It's a 32-bit installation, so it installs in C program files x86. And in the demo subfolder, it installed this file, and then it made sure it executed it. And when it executes, it runs a script which creates this folder if it's not there, creates this file if it's not there, and adds this entry if it's not there. Let me run it one more time and see if that still works. I will uninstall. And I'll reinstall. Let me do it this way. If we go back to my log file, we should have an extra entry with the time. Okay, 2 o'clock, that's my first demo. I have 3 demos. I've spent 15 minutes, so I'm good on time. Go on to my next demo. Windows installer PowerShell commandlets. This is one thing I was unhappy with PowerShell. It doesn't have native commandlets to run for Windows installer, for MSI. There are ways to talk to the Windows installer object, but then you have to write like your own C# code in PowerShell. It's allowed. It's allowed, but it's not easy and it's not practical if you don't have the background. So it's not really PowerShell you're in, but you're in C# code. So there are third-party tools, and there's one which is really frequently used, and I'm going to show you how to use that one. So it is a module you can download at this location. And once you download it, you need to install it. You make sure you install it as admin, because when you're installing as admin, it is going to give you the option to install to a location for all users. Otherwise, it installs for the current user only. Once you do that, make sure you know which location you install it. It has to be a location where PowerShell checks for modules. You can use this commandlet to see all the locations which PowerShell checks. And once you've installed the module, you're still not able to use it in PowerShell. You need to import it. To import it, it's only necessary with version 2 of PowerShell. From version 3 of PowerShell, any commandlet you use in a module will actually load the module itself. So that's the nice thing about version 3 and higher. We're using version 5, so we really don't have to import it, but I'll do it anyway. Get help MSI will list all the commands. Get help, you could also say module MSI, but get help MSI will show all the available commandlets. It allows many commandlets, and we're going to see some, and there's documentation at this link. So what am I going to do with my demo? I'm going to use just to install and uninstall an MSI with PowerShell. I'm going to add an additional source path to an MSI, perform some ICE validation, set the logging policy, and retrieve the latest log file. Let me go back to my demo environment, which is Windows 10. Let's close this. And I'm going to run PowerShell ISC. It's important to run as administrator. I'm going to open my PowerShell. Okay. If you want to import a module, or if you want to run commands from a module, your execution policy has to be remote signed. I talked earlier about it. You can't bypass it now. So that's the first command you have to execute. This is, I don't know if everybody knows this software I'm using right now. It comes with PowerShell. It comes with Windows. It's the integrated scripting environment. And the cool thing about it is you can run your commands and store them. And if you are on a command, or if you like select the whole row, it both works, and click F8, it will execute it. It's warning me now. It says the execution policy helps protect you. Are you sure you want to change it? Yes, I want to change it. And I'm going to import the Windows installer module. As I said before, it's not necessary, but this is the command line you use to import it. And where does PowerShell actually find its modules? So it depends on which console you are, because they have different module paths. But if you click here, F8, you can see on all the locations that PowerShell looks at for finding its modules. Okay, so these are all. If you install a module there, it will be visible in this session. Let me clean the screen. So which commandlets are now available? Let's run this one. Takes a few seconds, I noticed. It's not the bigger module, but it searches everywhere. All right. Let me make my screen a bit smaller. So we have a number of commandlets and functions. For example, you can get the component state of an MSI. You can add an extra source. You can get the file types. You can get properties from an MSI. You can install a patch or a product. And you can test a product. We will see some of these commands. So what I want to do, what we actually all want to do mostly is install an MSI with a transform. So the first thing I did is go to help and see if it's allowed to give properties along with the command line, and it was allowed because the transforms is a property, and you always just give it in the command line, right? Probably everybody said yes, so I'm not going to go too deep in this. But let me install Orca. Everybody knows Orca? What does Orca do? Yeah, it's an MSI editor. Anybody knows what the name means, Orca? One really cool application, yeah. So somebody knew. Last time nobody knew. Okay, I'm gonna run this command. This headset is, no, I can't see you guys anymore. Okay, let's see if it worked. I could go and start Windows, but it's cooler to use the get MSI product info. This is a command line from that module. And if an MSI has been installed, you get a object with a product code, product version, and product name. And another way is to start Orca by using the start process command. That's a standard PowerShell command. So let's start Orca. There you see, it's been installed. And I use the transform, and the transform is a very simple transform, just adds a registry entry. So let's see if that worked. I start regedit, because with PowerShell you can also start external executables. And if I go here, I see that I have an Orca hive, or an Orca key, with edit installatie-datum, installation date, with date and time of now. So that's been installed. Once you have the get MSI product info, what we just saw, this table, let me clear it, you're able to get one by one the information out of it. This helps us to automate. So product code and product name, I'm going to retrieve from this object, which we saw, and I'm going to store them in variables, variable product name, code, variable product name. They've been stored. So what we can do now is we can use the product code, for example, to see where did Orca install from, and we use that as a parameter product code of the getMSI source command. So running getMSI source with this product code. Well, actually, let me run it without this path to show you what happens. I'll just run this command. You see, I get a little table. It's actually an object, but it has an order and it has a path. And if you only want to get the path, which is mostly what we want to get, because we need a string, you run this command and you get cdemo MSI. That's where it installed from. What you're also able to do is add a second source with the add MSI source command. I did it purposefully on 2 lines to show you that with this sign, this is called the grave accent, it's under your tilde on a Dutch keyboard. You're able to write lines on multiple, write one command line on multiple lines in PowerShell, and that helps it to make it more readable. So what I'm going to do is add an MSI source to this product, this Orca, with this path. So somebody gave me an assignment. They said, we want our self-healing. Everybody knows what self-healing is? That's when you start a shortcut, an advertised shortcut, and it checks if an MSI is healthy. If it's not healthy, so a component is missing, it will heal it first. The problem is, it heals it from the source. So if the source is not available, it cannot heal it. So somebody gave me the assignment. He said, well, Walter, we have an extra source for Orca in the folder extra source. Can you please add that? I said, sure. I'll do it with PowerShell. Fate. If we check the source now, we get not anymore a single string, but we get an array of strings. We get 2 strings. The next assignment they gave me is, well, we need to get the source and the product name into a variable, because we need to use that variable to get, for example, the MSI summary information. In order to get one of these 2 paths, it's an array, so you can use this at the end of it, the square bracket 0, and that will give you the first row of the array. So if I do F8 here, and then I would type $original source, and then F8, you see I only get again the first line. So I can have multiple sources and still access the only one I need. So let's run this command as well. And what is now MSI source path? That's the full path to my MSI. So these are ways you can automate locations and stuff of your installed MSIs. Get MSI summary information. It's another command from that module. It's a summary information stream. There's some important information here. For example, this platform tells me if it's a 32-bit or a 64-bit installation. If x64 would be here, it would be a 64-bit. Anything else, well, in this case, Intel, it's a 32-bit installation. Some more important information, but let's go further. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use two commands. I'm going to pipe the command test MSI product, which, what does it do? It actually validates an MSI, so it runs validation. That's why I chose Orca. It's a really small application. And it's going to validate and give me a list of results, which I'm going to send into a text file. So let's see how that works. Maybe we can go get some coffee. I hope it doesn't take that long. Custom action demo. No, it's already made the file. Yeah, it's done. So what we have now is the result from the validation, and it's all been stored into this text file. We see that it's a pretty healthy MSI. There's no errors. There's some warnings. They're acceptable. And we have proof, hey, I validated it. I've done that. I've done my job. If you want to type the text file, what I just showed you to screen, you can always run type, the type command, and it will run it on your screen. So you see lots of things we were able to use in command prompt are still available in PowerShell. Check the MSI logging policy. Let's see what the logging policy is on this machine. Oh, I didn't fix it yesterday. I had the full logging policy, the voice warm-up. Anybody knows that? That's if you do L star V, well, L means log, star means all the options plus V. All the options plus V you could write out as voice warm-up. That's all the options. Don't ask me why they chose that. Let's see. So you could change the logging policy. Let's say I want to remove the user. I'll just set, and if I check it one more time, you have a different logging policy. And the last part of this demo, it's a little more complex command. What I want to do is get the last MSI log generated on this machine. So the last, probably the one I just installed, Orca. So what I want to do is first retrieve all the log files with this pattern from the temp folder. I do that with get child item. And from this array, because I'm going to get an array of log files, I'm going to sort it, and I'm going to sort it on the creation time. So, and I'm going to sort it descending. And the result of this command I'm going to pipe through to select object, and I'm going to just select the last one. Let's see, my fate. So pipe through this sign pipe is like grave accent. It allows me to write the next command on the next line. Let's see what it does. And if I check now full path to MSI log, see this is the last MSI, last log file created of Orca just a little while ago. Fate. This is the file that was created. I added the file to the environment variable temp, which opens the temp folder. The uninstall MSI product is another command. Why did I want to show you? Because last time I did a demo, I had not added this command, and it doesn't ask you, it just reboots. So you're doing your demo, and then suddenly your machine is rebooting. So that's important to add it. It will uninstall Orca. And let's see if this command succeeded. Clean the screen. And get the MSI product info for Orca. You see there's nothing there, so Orca has been uninstalled. Okay, I'll go on with my demo. The third demo is creating an AppV connection group. So let's see what an application of a PowerShell in AppV. Infrastructure, to install AppV 5, you need PowerShell version 3. That's the minimum prerequisite you need to have. And if you want to run client or sequencer PowerShell commands, you do actually need to have the client or the sequencer on that machine. It makes sense, of course, but some people think I have PowerShell, I can do anything, right? It's not exactly how it works. PowerShell is a shell. It's got a lot of modules. Every version of PowerShell has more. But if you want to run SSCM PowerShell commands, you need to have SSCM installed. If you want to run AppV ones, you need to have AppV installed. These are the following command lists, which I'm going to use at the end of my demo to enable a connection group. So you can first add the connection group by giving a path to a connection group descriptor file. It's a group.xml. And then once you've added it, you can enable it. What does this global do? To the system, it allows all users on that machine to use the connection group. Yes?
If they are going to download this presentation, don't copy it because it's a long minus. It's a long dash.
Oh, it's a long dash, is that so?
Don't copy it straight away and use it like this because it won't work.
Okay.
Also with the minus path and the minus name.
Okay, yeah, well, they say the long dash might not work. Okay, good, thank you. Anyway, if you download and use it like this. But it's, the uploaded one is with the long one. Virtual applications in the connection group's member packages, they will be able to see each other, right? So if everything in a connection group is able to see each other. So you can install two AppVs. They won't see each other. They're running in their own bubble. But if you run a connection group and add them to it, they will be able to see each other. So we can automatically create a connection group descriptor file. Why is that? Normally, the AppV server manager will do it, but we can do it with PowerShell because the format is always the same. You have information about the group itself at the top, and then this is at the bottom of the file. For every package, you have an entry in this form. So what we need to do, we need to retrieve the display name, package ID, and version GUID for every package we need to add to that connection group. There are two ways to do it. If your package is installed, your AppV package, you can say get AppV client package and retrieve this information. If the package is not installed, you can do add AppV client package and it will immediately do that. So you can do this in a lab environment. So my demo is going to be simple. We're going to make a script to retrieve the necessary information, display name, package ID, and version ID. We're going to use variables, and we're going to use select object and expand property. And we're going to expand this script to create the whole XML file on basis of two AppV 5.1 packages. The two packages we have is IrfanView. Maybe somebody knows it. It's a imaging software. You can check images. And IrfanView language and plugins. It's it's a plugin. It's actually two other MSIs which I've packaged into an AppV package. And it allows you, for example, to have the Dutch language in IrfanView. We're going to use this command as well from PowerShell to create some new GUIDs, some random generated GUIDs. Once this is done, we're going to publish the connection group. Let me go back to my environment and open my script. Okay. First of all, you need to have AppV5 sequencer to do this. Let me clean the screen, not really necessary. My first package is cdemo AppV IrfanView. I haven't created a function or a module. I'm just doing it this way to go through it. But you must know that this script, you can improve on it. And that's my question to you guys. Feel free to download it. If you want to download it, you can send me a mail, and I'll give you a link to it. And feel free to improve on it. So what we're going to do, we're going to install two AppV packages. The first one is going to be stored in the $app1, and the second one in $app2. So the command is add AppV client package to install it, and then I'm going to publish it directly. F8 will run the command. So has it been published? You see, global is published globally true. So that went well. I'm going to run app2. Okay, this also went well. This must be added to a generic connection group template. Let's take a look how that looks. So I have here a generic template, and some fields have to be filled in. So group name has to be filled in, group GUID, group version ID, and in this case, these two packages. So we need for the first package, we need the name, package ID, and version GUID, and for the second package as well. So I'm going to retrieve this information. In order to retrieve it, I'm going to use those variables I made with information about the package in it. This is also an object. So for app1, I'm going to get the name, version, and GUID. And I'm doing that by piping the result of app1 to the select object. And I'm going to select the property name from that object. So if you run these three commands, you have app1 name, version, and GUID. An alternate way to do it, but you need to have PowerShell version 3 or higher to do it. Sorry, Dutch, or higher. Is to directly get the name property from the object. So the result, it's not the exactly same method, but the result is the same. For app2, I'm going to do this. Okay, let's check the information we have. I have a trick for you. If you run this like this, it's a bit messy. But if you run CLS on top of it, it shows it nicer. It's good for demo purposes. Anyway, so the app1 name is IrfanView with this version and this package ID. And app2, it's IrfanView language and plugin with this app version and this package ID. Before I start the connection group, let me start IrfanView. Let me show you what it does. Somewhere here, I have it. I'm starting the process of it by going to the shortcut. So this is IrfanView, and although I've installed the plugins, if I go to change language, the Netherlands language, the Dutch language, is not available. So that's why we have to now make our connection group. One of the piece of information I need is the display name here, group name. So let me get that. I'm going to use the name of app1 as the connection group name. I'm going to append this to the end of it. You can use double quotes to append values of variables to strings. The problem is when you put a variable in a double quotes, everything after this dot, he ignores. So it will be just added as text. So it will not actually take the name of app1. It will add it as text. So that's why I used this this notation. It's called a sub-expression, what this does, everything in the parenthesis will be evaluated first. So we'll get the name, and then it will append connection group to it. So if we do F8 here, and then check the group name, you see that we get IrfanView connection group. So I'm going to do a search and replace. There's a better way of dealing with XML files. You can actually add elements to it. I'm just showing this way because I think it's clearer for everybody if you do a replace. XML replacement we can do during the course. So the first thing I'm doing, I'm going to get the content of this file we saw here. And I'm going to put it in a variable text. F8. Then I'm going to replace one by one the text in that file with the proper values. So group name will get group name variable. Group GUID, well, it's a new file, so I can get a new GUID. This is how you generate a new GUID in PowerShell. And I'm going to generate a new one, another random one for group version ID. And these 6 lines will run all at once. So what have I done now? I have a variable in memory with everything replaced in it. And what I'm going to do is take that variable and I'm going to pipe its result to a new file, IrfanView connection group.xml. And let's take a look if that was completed. demo. Where was it? It says there, C demo appv. Okay, got it. Wrong file. C demo appv. So it now created this file, and let's take a look. If I run it with Notepad, clean screen. Display name has been replaced. Connection group ID and version ID has been replaced. And the two packages, we have the information from the two packages in the file. Okay, I'm going to publish the connection group now. We saw what happens when we start AirFromView. But once you add the appv client connection group and enable it, okay, let's take a look. Is enabled globally true? We should be able to now, well, we not, but the application AirFromView should be able to see its plugin. Thank you. If I go to change language, we see that the Dutch language DLL is available. And if I disable it, and remove the appv client connection group, start it once more, take a look, it's gone. So connection group seems to be working. Once you're done in your lab environment, you can unpublish the appv client packages and remove them from the machine. Yeah, in a minute. Thank you. So I'm done with my demo. Questions? No? Okay. We go further. No. I'll give you some time. This is my last slide. If you need more information, we have a training. It's called Powershell Essentials for Packagers and IT Pros. I teach you all of these commandlets and how to deal with objects, arrays, and stuff like that. Actually, it's here. The next date is 30 November of 2015. It's a 4-day training. And first, we're going to learn the PowerShell fundamental knowledge, like discovery and help of commands, variables, manipulating the OS, logical operators, like ands, ors, ifs, objects, functions, scripts, tips, tricks, and more. The last day, we're going to spend the whole day applying it to packaging technology. So we're going to do MSIs, custom actions, and appv version 5. This is the link to our training. And if you want these scripts, you can please send me an email, and I will send them to you. The session code is 8234. And any questions? All right, now's the time.
Does that also work with the new schema in the appv5 SP3 connection group file?
This was appv 5.1 I ran.
No, you didn't. I'm sure because the appv5 SP3 and higher have an any version option, so you can put in a start for the version. I wanted to know if it would work with the start, with the asterisk. You have the 2010 format, so that's pre-SP3. If it's 2014, it's post.
See, appv 5.1.
That's really strange. Look at your definition file.
My definition file may be older, but these are 5.1 I'm running it with.
Do you have the definition file, the template? Yeah, there.
This one you mean?
The connection group, yeah, or that one, because you made it from the template. The third line and the fourth line say 2010. That's the pre-SP3 connection group.
Right, yeah, well, I didn't fix that yet. It's a typo in the, yeah. Not typo. But thank you very much, yeah. Okay, any other questions? No, well, thank you very much. That was my presentation. Thank you.